Hi guys, welcome back to The Big Picture. Joe Cruey here at Paradigm. Unfortunately, Greg Magadini from Amber Data could not join us today. He just got back from Asia, that 18-hour Singapore flight. So we're definitely going to cut him a little bit of slack there. Marty, Crypto Vault portfolio manager and crypto Twitter phenom, who always joins us. And today we are very excited to welcome on Ether Chen, lead financial engineer at our longtime partner Bybit. So Ether has some really cool AI crypto derivative trading tools he's going to demo on the podcast today. So definitely stay tuned for that. This is definitely an episode that you don't want to miss. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button as we continue to bring you some of the best content in the crypto derivative space. So Ether, welcome to the channel, man. Really glad to have you on.
Hey Joe, hey Marty, glad to meet you guys.
Yeah, it's kind of a long time coming. Obviously, Paradigm and Bybit have a great partnership. I think we've done some Formula One stuff together over in Singapore, which unfortunately I was not invited to. But it was definitely long overdue to get the Bybit guys on. So before we begin, if you give just a quick background on yourself, how you ended up at Bybit, and kind of what you're currently responsible for over there.
Yes, of course. I used to be one coming from like traditional finance and working like the merger and acquisition deals. And I've been in Bybit for over 2 years. So currently I'm working as the principal product manager of our financial product and research team. And actually, yeah, I'm responsible for the products including on-chain and off-chain. So for on-chain ones like ETH 2.0, the POS stuff like everybody likes. And also what I'm going to introduce to your audience, the TradeGPT, the AI stuff, and some other like fantasy earn products or structured products. Yeah.
Awesome. And so you mentioned that you were doing M&A before. Like, what sort of like epiphany did you have where you're like, okay, I'm in the TradFi M&A investment banking world. Okay, now I want to go and build crypto trading tools.
Yeah, it's quite different because I used to work in the M&A and in strictly the area of banking. So I'm seeking for, like Asian banks
Mm-hmm.
and for merging their license. And in that time, I found they all like seeking for the transformation into, digital transformation to utilize the most common technology in the banks and to their clients. And at that time, I reached for CBDC, and then I noticed blockchain, then I know crypto. So it's really fantasy. Yeah. So that's how lead me to the trading tools.
Interesting. Yeah, I just had to ask the question because the guests that we have on, a lot of the guests aren't like, oh, I was like doing, M&A stuff at a bank. So thanks for entertaining that. But obviously AI, all the rage these days. We're starting to see even more intersection between AI, trading, crypto, and followers of our podcast will remember that we did an episode with Investify around how they are using AI-driven signals to drive their Bitcoin overwriting strategy. So, like, really happy to be visiting this sort of emerging topic again. So, Ether, you're leading the AI efforts over there at one of the world's largest crypto derivative exchanges. Like, I'm curious how you guys are currently thinking about the current development status of AI in trading.
Yeah, this is really an interesting topic. So, because we've seen like ChatGPT and other like large language models into adoption for retail users. It's a huge step for users actually know how I can use AI, but actually it is still got like far away for user they can actually using AI to help them trading. I mean, those retail users. And from the time being till this year, the AI adoption in trading is like surrounding algorithm trading or predictive analytics or something like that. But starting from this year, about the big language model has adopted, it can actually help users to understand the market more easily. and it can understand your intention and analyze the data for you, and then actually forming a strategy for these users. So I think it really moved to the next step, but still the initial step.
Right. Makes sense, Marty. I think you're gonna like this tool. You're gonna find it very sleek. Ether, do you want to share your screen and show us the Trade GBT plugin that you've been building for Bybit?
Oh, of course. Wait a second. Let me just show my screen now. Yeah, of course. So this has already been released on mainnet, and to all our Bybit users, you can find it on the tools and TradeGPT. So actually, what it can help users, we tell you what it can help, right? It can help you to analyze for different tokens strategy or its market data, and it can also help user to select them and giving some advices. And we'll give like a brief market summary and with also some like popular coins for the day. And there are also some, the suggested question. But let me just make a demo. So, most users, when they have some question, actually, they do not have like a very specific idea. So let's say if we are asking about which two tokens are best suitable for trading today, and also what strategy can apply. Let's say for search question, we can just run it through this one and just ask it and giving it some time. Cool. So you'll see this is live and generating, and it analyzed the data from Bybit, the trading data, and also the market sentiment, and giving out some like strategies suggestion to user. So it is like relatively long, but I think it's worthy to read. And if users actually they think it's too long, right? They do not wish to read, we will summarize like different kind of strategies user can just use them. Let's say if we suggest for the orbs, so it's very hot right now, right? So for click now, and it will embed the suggested order price for user. And also if user are, let's say they wish to use tools like Gripbot, so we will also give the presetted, parameters for users. So I think this is quite wise.
Oh yeah, that's great. Are you guys gonna implement this just on the futures trading bot and perps, or are you guys also gonna implement it into your structured products? And do you guys have I think it's a shark fin and a snowball, like an accumulator type?
Yeah, it is on our, plan, but we still got a lot of things to do before we adopt it on the structured products. So on the next step, we will embed in more, live information, the news, so it can fix another user's needs about knowing what is happening on the market. And then we will utilize to our like earn products, help users to choose or help users to define their strategies.
Yeah, that's great because I think structured products are, well, they have the vanilla ones, but let's say the more exotic ones are a little complicated for a retail user to
Mhm.
pick up. So this will be pretty interesting if you just say, "Oh, this is what I think Bitcoin does in the next 1 week, in the next 6 months, and this is how I want to play this," and it spits out a play for you. It spits out a structured product. That would be amazing for sure.
Yeah, of course. So this is a brilliant idea. And also, one more thing I wish to take is we are making structured products like more easier for user to understand. Because, either Snowball, Sharkfin, or this one is the latest one
What
we
is a
put
double
out.
win?
Yeah, it's kind of we just selling the put and we just embedded the options in this product. So this is the price range. When the price moves out, the price range user will just win money. So I think it's quite easy for user to understand with like a very fixed payoff for their investment. Yeah. So like such a kind of product it best fits like for information days, right? We know something will happen on the market, but actually we do not know which side it is going to move, right? So let's say for this week, we do not know for the fake news, right? But we think something will happen. So it
Yeah.
best suits this part of user. You invest in 100, And obviously it moves like over $200 on Bitcoin higher. So users, like I think 70% of users have already purchased for this product win that day. Like an average ROI for the user, I think has already reached over like 20 or 30%.
So is it, I mean, I'm just looking at that payoff graph and it kind of just looks like a strangle, but is the final payoff of this double
Capped.
win streak?
It's capped. It should be
Wait,
capped. I
you're
don't think
locked?
it's infinite.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's capped, or we'll just get broke up.
Yeah. It
Looks like
has
a
a
contour
knockout.
kind of, right? Call spread plus put spread? Or, oh, it's a knockout. Okay.
Yeah,
It's a knockout.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it depends on the final price, and depends on like how far it is from the range.
This is super interesting. This is like listed structured products. Like this stuff doesn't really
Yeah, it's a twin win,
exist.
I think. They just rebranded it. I think it's a twin win is the official name. But yeah.
And
structured products are very... Go ahead.
How do you actually like trade one of these on the exchange? Like, do you have like an order book for this stuff? Or like, I would imagine not, right? You kind of just, you know, have your parameters and, you know, and features of the structured product you want to trade. You click that buy now button and then you'll receive prices from a market maker. Is that how it works?
Yeah, actually, if you click buy now and it will just before the settlement time, we got our vendors. These vendors lock their money and provide strategy in Bybit. And also like big names for those like market makers or other institutions. They provide the strategy for such product, and they will just provide the the price for users, and they will just execute all the strategy for user for if they lost or if they win.
Oh, okay.
I did this deep dive. I did this whole deep dive. I tried to be one of these market makers for this kind of product. But it was with OKX, right? And they were like, oh, sorry, you have to be one of the top market makers with us, and we only partner with our strategic partners. And I think same for Bybit, right? But I went down this whole structured products rabbit hole before with these exchanges. And it's a very interesting concept, right? You lock up the money and then you're able to quote. It's not like an RFQ type. And then pretty much there's no fee on the front end to my understanding, but it's baked in, right? You can go build these products yourself and maybe get a better rate, but for the usability and accessibility, they'll build it for you, but they clip a fee, of course, right? But it's on the premium of the option. There's no like, oh, it costs $10 to open up this product, is my understanding.
Right.
Yes, you are super correct. Because what we've building for this product is we know, the option market is not quite suitable for every users, right? Like most of them, even they got strategy of like perpetual tradings, they may not know how to trade with options, and they may not know how to like settle the same structure and or maintain their order books. So that's why we wish to make it really easy for users to use that. Because we think, high-end user, if they know how to provide such strategy on the option market, because we got our own option market, right? I think they can do the same thing, but they are not the target audience for such kind of structured products.
Interesting. I feel dumb that I didn't even know this stuff existed. I mean, Marty, you seem pretty well versed in this. Obviously, you've done the due diligence. Like, what is like the retail uptake look like on this stuff? Like, obviously, we're in crypto winter. I haven't really heard like that many of these structures, trading in the listed market. Is this kind of one of these things where okay, let's get these things set up so like if we do have this crypto sort of bull market, then these are going to kind of be like the next logical thing to trade for retail?
Yeah. My understanding from my work is it's anywhere from 1 million to 10 million notional a week, depending on the product. And then they obviously take the fee from the premium, so there's no fee up front. But then on some of the products, there's a cap, or sorry, a minimum. Some I know are like 100K to do an accumulator, but I think that Bybit is more focused. I ran through all of these. I think it's like $10. You can enter with $10 on most of these products, and they even have an auto roll feature, so it when they say, I don't know, you're going to get 500,000%. Well, yeah, you have to keep making that trade over and over and over again, right? So
Right,
good luck with that. But yeah, they do have an auto roll feature for users. So yeah, my understanding is like 1 to 10 million notional a week on some of the more popular products.
Wow. Okay. Wow. This is great. I love these podcasts. I just learned so much from the guests that we have on. Like this is a whole like aspect of the crypto derivative markets in the listed space I didn't even know existed. But all right, awesome, Ether. Thanks for sharing this stuff. I really appreciate it.
I think it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. And so I come from a traditional sort of options background. I was at JP Morgan for a number of years, and what really resonated with me was, especially in Asia, the interest in structured products and these sort of more complex if you will, payouts kind of beyond vanilla options. Like these aren't really products that like US retail or America, and obviously US cannot be a customer of these exchanges. We'll probably cut that out of the podcast, so we don't get in any trouble or anything. But over in Asia, like these sort of exotic and structured product markets in equities and FX with like the auto callable market is absolutely massive. So, I think it makes total sense to kind of be, focusing on this market as of now.
Would just add on to there, right? Like the more complex it is, the more fun it is, right? And maybe the less money you have to pay out. These products are super popular globally in the FX markets, right? You're not just buying vanilla call options on FX pairs. You're trying to get these crazy complex payouts that pay out, I don't know, 20x, 30x, even in Bitcoin, right? And now you're seeing this. But I think what's interesting with Bybit is they also do a lot of altcoin vol stuff. They do like a dual asset, and I know they have a snowball, like an accumulator. They also have the shark fin, and now this new twin win. That's not the right name, but the double win.
Yeah. No, that it makes sense, and kind of just getting this stuff, ready for when the crypto derivative or crypto options market take off. I saw a stat that I think crypto options volumes are now 3% of all derivative volumes, compared to like a year ago or so. It's 1%. Obviously I think Binance probably has a little bit to do with that, given the amount of outflows, but it certainly seems like crypto options are here to stay, and are going to continue to grow. But to kind of just shift gears here, so obviously a crazy start to the week in the crypto markets. Spot doing this crazy 10% round trip, and I think was 25 minutes on this ETF fake news leak. And despite this false headline, I find it pretty interesting that Bitcoin has been able to hold around this 28,500 level at the time of recording. Especially since the macro for crypto, it kind of stinks, right? I mean, you look at the retail sales data that we had earlier this week. The 10-year, I was watching CNBC this morning, 10-year was up to 498. And it's come off a little bit. DXY above 106.5, and equities are getting whacked. So crypto's kind of just decorrelated, but thankfully in a good way this week. And I don't really know what to make of it. Potentially we kind of saw the quote unquote playbook of this strong upside reaction before the news was proven false. And, people, clearly there was, some pretty good pent up demand out there for traditional crypto access. Larry Fink was on basically saying like, yeah, this reaction wasn't surprising. All the conversations that we're having with our clients are people trying to get access, or our clients trying to get access to this asset class. And then you had Novogratz coming out, I think yesterday, and saying that they expect the ETF before the end of 2023, so the SEC can get this sort of win. But Ether, it kind of seems like the market's really putting all this hope in this sort of Bitcoin ETF, which, certainly seems like it's coming, but kind of what are your general thoughts on this the macro decoupling that we've seen?
Yeah, so it's quite interesting observation for the fake news, because I think it is testing the market for the current market. And what conclusion we can raise first? I think there are two. The first one is, we've heard like all things about like the market's like out of liquidity, the money is running out. Yes, we've seen that. We've seen maybe the stable coin market value is keep dropping, and we've seen even we talked about right, the real world asset. We found that what is RMA is like the stablecoin is going to purchase for US Treasury, like seeking for like a riskless assets and like more stable return. But actually, from what we've seen for this week, we've thought that there are still like very deep liquidity in the market, and they are just waiting for a time. They're waiting for a chance. And currently, I think so far, the only chance leaving to the crypto market, or the largest one, is the Bitcoin ETF. Yes, because this is our like core finding one. And another core finding is we found that we think the macroeconomics indicators, at least for like 2023, I think most of those indicators has already like finishing their tasks. There won't be like larger or more influenced like indicators happen to the market. Because what we've seen for the past 2 weeks, last week, the CPI and PPI, right? The annual rates they announced out are like actually all higher than expect. And we've seen the crypto market is dropping, but they drop just very less, right? Like I think less than like 3% or 4%. So the market has already pricing for the inflation, but like still a little bit concerning about that. And for this week, for the fake news, yeah, we see we seen that the 10% a lot, right? Over 10% like upward for Bitcoin, and maybe I think 8 or 9% for ETH. So this is the buy power of the market. And on the other side, for on-chain data, because I'm using, the Glassnode, right? The Glassnode index is really quite good for the the suppliers in this metrics. And that metrics already shows that holders are still keeping their Bitcoins in their wallet because over, I think currently is 73% of, long-term Bitcoin holders haven't like traded or moved their Bitcoins. And the long-term dimension the term is defined for Bitcoins do not move or trade for over, I think, 100 or 15 days. So it's quite a long term. So, and these are the dominators, and they are not selling their Bitcoins. So I think that's what insights we got from market. And I think people are all putting their hope in the ETF. But actually, as regulatory, as I research for the history, right? Because we've noticed that back into, I think, 2021, right? 2021, there are a lot of, the like TradFi or like CryptoFi, they are applying for the ETFs, but they all got delayed, then they just got denied. So that's because the SEC is using the same reason, thinking the Bitcoin market is not big enough, and they think the price can be manipulated. But such things still not already improved or changed so far. So that's why, for the fake news release for the first 5 minutes, I just open a short position because I don't think it can be done. Yeah, but what the good news is, the lawsuit, Grayscale win for their lawsuit, and SEC has just waiting passing the time for their first round to debate. So at least this is a good scene. But like when it will get approved, I'm not very optimistic for it is going to get approved by this year. But for 2024, I think it may work. Yeah, I think the SEC just need more time to figure out like how to define if the market is going to be manipulated or not.
Does this news of this fake news, does that postpone it, right? Does that give the
Mhm.
SEC another argument to say that, look, this market is still immature, Bitcoin is still being able to be manipulated off of a fake tweet, and then, Reuters took it off and everybody else started retweeting and liking, and, Telegram channels are going crazy. I've been writing about this for like 5 months. I think that all this ETF stuff is like opium. A little bit. I think that
Oh,
maybe there's some
absolutely.
inflows, there's some new flows, but it's not like game changing forever to Bitcoin. It's just more of another tool, or another tool to trade in the toolbox, right? Because you have some people that can't trade, let's say on Bybit, right? They're in the US and they're regulated, and they're able to trade on CME, and they're able to trade on NASDAQ and all of these things. They'll be able to trade these ETF options legally. I think it just allows other players to trade another tool, essentially.
Yeah, I think we'd all kind of agree that sure, like the initial reaction, you know, once it gets released, is probably going to end up getting faded until the actual flows come in. When the news came in, we were having conversations internally. We're like, how much you want to bet that BTC ends up flat on the day? Obviously this was before the news report was was proven to be fake. But I mean, Marty, to your point on the manipulation, like I don't really think so. Like I don't think this is ammo for the SEC to be like, oh, like look clearly what's happening here. Clearly this market's being manipulated. Like this sort of stuff happens in other markets all the time. Like remember when Elon Musk was like funding secured, tweeting funding secured, right? Ripping his stock. Remember, I mean, you see this all the time in the healthcare sector where false rumors of drug reports being released before or are proven to be falsified, and stocks are moving unnaturally
300%
because
in the day. Yeah.
yeah, this
Yeah.
stuff happens in other asset classes, and like separating fake news versus manipulation due to actual market dynamics. I think it's a really different story there.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we're just all sitting on our hands. We're all waiting. The initial vol shock will come, and then I think you just get a vol crush. I think you're coming into 2024 with the presidential election. You have this ETF news. You have the Bitcoin halving. I think it should be overall a okay year for
Mm,
Bitcoin, as long as macro isn't like, absolutely garbage and keeps deteriorating worse than it already is now. I think it
right.
should be an okay year for Bitcoin. Okay, what does that mean? We're trading 30, 40K range instead of 20, 30. Like, it's not great, just an okay year.
Right. I just want to share my screen to show one thing here. I know we're kind of coming up on 30 minutes. So this is, kind of, given the whole ETF sort of hopium. Obviously, we retraced the move, but we're back at 28 half K, and I would say on Paradigm, the sentiment on us this week has turned quite bullish. Can you guys see this, by the way?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay,
Yep,
cool.
yep.
So this is a new chart. So this is Paradigm taker cumulative flows. So i.e., what have takers executed cumulatively across strikes and maturities over the last week? And the beauty of working at Paradigm and being able to work with Paradigm data is we always know the correct direction of the takers who trade on Paradigm. We don't have this ambiguity around if a taker bought or sold. And keep in mind that the data that I'm showing here is just a proxy for what the largest institutions are doing in the crypto block market. This is not all of Deribit data. That's kind of Greg at Amber Data. That's his domain. I'm kind of just looking at this sample of Paradigm data. And what we've clearly seen since Monday is this significant increase in BTC upside since this fake ETF announcement. Perhaps due to this thought, well, damn, look at the reaction that we had. Clearly, there's this pent up demand for it. And keep in mind that upside activity was actually pretty muted quite recently until this week. I know that we've spoken on the podcast previously where it's like, oh, this is what like the open interest has looked like. But it's really, the sentiment really has changed this week. And the main theme here is clearly, selling the new at the money strikes. If you look at that 29K bar, that's roughly at the money now, versus buying upside in these 30 half to 34K strikes. But we're still seeing some shorts being put on kind of in the 36, 37K to kind of fund the upside in the 30 to 35K. And if you look at that 27K buying, this was actually all flow that occurred overnight. And this isn't like people putting on like fresh downside bets or anything. This is actually just people covering the 27K strike when 27K was closer to the at the money. Like the playbook this year has kind of been like selling the at the money versus the slight downside versus buying upside in the belly of the curve versus selling the upside wings. So that flow is kind of just covering, a given we've kind of moved to a new at the money strike.
Yeah, I think Ram last week or 2 weeks ago was really interested that that's how the crypto market was playing this, right? Like that's been the play the whole year, and it hasn't really changed besides, some crypto specific news, but overall it hasn't really changed. That's been the playbook.
Yeah, exactly. And we've actually been tracking on like, when do we see these increases in kind of the upside volumes? And Marty, I don't think you'll be surprised on it, but it's, as we approach expiry, right? People tend to have the positions that are rolling off the curve and they kind of just need to restrike. So we have next Friday, I believe, is the standard October expiry. So naturally, we're seeing people starting to roll these October upside positions. Some of them that are actually close to at the money now, kind of further out the curve into December. So if you look here, this is the top trades on Paradigm over the past week, and clearly some pretty significant demand in the December 34,000 strike. We also saw the D's 35K strike being bought literally as we're recording on this podcast in about 700 times in the past hour or so. But clearly people selling the new at the money, kind of this Nove third 29K versus buying the D's 34K. And similarly, that third BTC line selling that OCT 28 half K versus buying that D's 34K. So clearly, as Marty, what you were talking about, kind of like, well, potentially an upside hedge, but also, potentially some ETF Opium here.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see the ETH overrider come back. Always comes back in style.
Always comes back. He's not going anywhere. He's never leaving. I mean, dude, I don't know about you. Like, I'm so sick.
He might be the best to ever do it. He might be the best to ever do it.
The first thing I thought about when we had that big move on Monday, when we rallied like 8% in Ethereum, was just like, oh shit! Like, what is this ETH overrider going to do? I mean, before we even started recording this podcast, we saw a tweet like, "Where is the collateral? Where is the collateral?" The one, Marty, that you shared with me. It's just like, and that was kind of my first thought. Like, we've seen a tendency for this guy to kind of panic cover. Obviously, everything we're talking about is hypothetical since we've kind of retraced that move, but that's kind of the first thing I thought about, because it's going to be reflexive in both directions, right? Like, obviously he's weighing on the curve right now, but he's also showed a willingness to cover his risk very, very quickly. And it's going to create that feedback loop in the other direction, kind of like the Volmageddon events that we've had in, traditional asset classes of, 2020, or I can even think back to like 2017 XIV, right? Where we kind of had these feedback loops at play where, people need to cover their risk, and, that just kind of, pushes everything, even higher.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this guy plays it. I mean, for now, it's looking good for him, right?
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. Okay, well, we're at the 35-minute mark. Ether, thanks so much for joining, man. Those AI tools that you're building are pretty damn cool, and you kind of really opened my mind to this whole sort of listed, sort of structured product world that I feel bad for not even knowing existed. So thanks for coming on and teaching us both up on that.